of Wrestling. I'm your host, JP John Paz. With me today, very special guest, former WWF Intercontinental Champion. He's a Slammy winner. He's a Kuwait Cup winner. He's a former USWA World Champion. He is, of course, the Pearl River powerhouse, Ahmed Johnson. Ahmed, welcome to the Two Man Power Trip. How you doing?
Welcome. How you doing, brother?
I am doing great. What's going on in
Good.
your world? What have you been up to?
Oh man, just chilling, working and chilling.
Back in the wrestling game, I guess, right? I mean, you're back and out and doing signings and stuff.
Yeah, out doing signings now.
How did that come about? Were you like just wanted to get away from the business? Now you're kind of slowly working your way back in?
No, just I've got so many calls on doing signings. So many people want me to do signings. I said, it's time to get off my butt and go do something.
How does it feel getting back into it?
It all feels pretty good, man. I mean, it depends on what promoter you go to. Most of them are pretty good, man.
Do you still like wrestling at all? Like, do you still, have any interest in it or not really?
If I could do it, I would do it again.
Really? So you
Yeah.
do still like the business?
Oh yeah, I still like the business, the wrestling
What
side of it.
what about it like kind of gravitates you towards it? What like why do you love it?
Just because it's in me, man. I mean, it was something that I did, and it's in my blood now.
When you like go to these shows and things like that, are you friendly with everybody, or like are the guys you avoid? What's the like that like at the conventions and the scene and stuff like that?
No, you got a bunch of them that talked a bunch of smack about. You can't curse in here, can you?
Oh, sure you can. Yeah, go
Oh,
for
okay. They talk a bunch of shit, man.
it.
And like the nation. But I had a signing with Kama and Staffa last week, and it went pretty good, man. We were pretty cordial with each other.
So there are guys in the nation you don't get along with?
There's guys that I don't care too much for, yeah.
Would it D'Lo be one of them? Because I know there was a story out there. He said one thing, you said I forget what it was, but there was a
Yeah,
story with D'Lo recently.
he claimed he beat me up in the locker room. I said, D'Lo Brown beat up Ahmed Johnson. Do you know if D'Lo Brown beat me, number one, Vince would be pushing him instead of me. Everybody would have seen it. Nobody's seen this now except for Mark Henry, Farouk, and Kama. Nobody else seen this in the locker room. And nobody else heard of this until now. That rumor didn't start until I left. And then I left. All of a sudden, I hear a dealer say he beat you up. And I'm like, what? I mean, it was unbelievable, man. So yeah,
Hard,
he's on my list, and Mark Henry is definitely on my list.
hard to believe about D'Lo. I can't see it for whatever reason. I just can't see that being possible. Maybe I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but right? I
Oh yeah,
can't
I'm
see that
good.
happening. What about Mark Henry though? What's the issue with Mark?
I don't know, man. He just started talking a bunch of shit, man. Once I left, nobody did it when I was there. When I was there, they didn't say a word to me. But as soon as I left, all these rumors started, man. So I don't know what their deal is. I think they're mad. Number one, they're mad because I became the first black Intercontinental Champion in history. Number two, they're mad because they've been wrestling for years and years, man. Some of them 14 years. And I come in after 1 year and get the Intercontinental belt. And I don't think that the boys appreciated that.
Wow. Okay. What about the D'Lo fight though? Like what it supposedly happened, or what was the story with that?
I don't know. He said he got me in a full Nelson. That was the fight. D'Lo got me in a full Nelson. And that was the fight. According to him, that's the end of it. No punches were thrown. Nothing else was thrown. It's just that he got me in a full Nelson. That was supposed to be, I guess he called that a fight.
Did that actually happen? Full Nelson?
No, that's what I don't understand where it's coming from. We did get into a argument. Me and The Rock got into an argument, and we beat that out. And then all of a sudden, I leave, and after I leave, a year later, I'm hearing all these rumors, man.
What was the argument with The Rock over?
About who's going, go over and what we were going to do to get that to that point where I, beat him up and pin him. He didn't like some of my ideas. I didn't like some of his ideas.
And that's it?
Well, it was a locker room incident. I don't really want to say what it was, but
Oh,
yeah, Rock just he ain't who he seems to be, man.
what do you mean?
I mean, he's not all that smiling and handshaking and glory that people think he is. I mean, I've seen him be very rude to some of the fans in wrestling. Very rude.
So what is his true like personality? What is he like?
Um, he just goes with the flow, man. He goes with the boys. Whatever the boys do, he wants to do. And I was total opposite. I didn't go with the boys. If they want to go out and have drinks or do drugs or whatever they want to do, I wasn't part of that. And me not being part of that made me an outcast.
Did that
Oh man.
did that turn them
But
against you?
yeah, some of the boys did turn against me. They
Because you
never
wouldn't
let
go
me
out with
know it.
them and stuff?
Huh?
Because you wouldn't go out with them and stuff?
Yeah, because I wouldn't go out and party and do the things they were doing and get involved in some things they were involved with. It just wasn't me, man. It's just not my lane. And some of them got very jealous and very upset because I won the Intercontinental belt, and they said, "Oh, think he's the man now. He's this that." Man, come on. This is a fake wrestling for a fake belt. Give me a break.
So let's just say, like they're jealous or whatever's going on, but also because you're not hanging out with them, you're not quote unquote one of the boys like doing drugs and stuff. That kind of turned them against you as well, basically.
Yes, yes.
But when you look at it, I know it's every man for himself. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, there should be some camaraderie. Was there still camaraderie with the boys, and you just didn't want to go out, or did you kind of distance yourself from everybody?
No, I kind of distanced myself because when I first got there, I was green. I knew I was green. Okay, it's no secret. But the boys, when I did my dark match to make the WWF, the boys used to almost be standing by the curtain to see what I do. And then all of a sudden, I mean, they all kind of had their own little ways of doing things. And some of them wasn't, in my direction. So what happened was when I went to that time I slammed Yokozuna.
Yep.
Well, Yoko told me, I went to Yoko after I left Vince's office. I went to Yoko and said, Yoko, Vince want me to come to the ring and slam you. And Yoko looks at me and says, well, I hope you can get me up because I'm not jumping for you. And he meant that. I got in the ring, he didn't jump one iota for me, not 1 inch. And that made, bad blood between me and Yoko at that time. But we smoothed it out, man, and became friends.
Why didn't he jump? Why wouldn't he jump? What was the issue?
Because I was a new guy and I was green and a new guy, and they didn't appreciate the fact that, he didn't appreciate the fact that Vince wanted me to slam him, being new and being green. It is what it is.
What do you think about your slam versus Luger's slam on Yoko? Who did it better, you think?
Well, when Luger slammed, you got to remember he was 200 pounds lighter, and when Luger slammed, it was more like a hip toss, not a slam. If you look at where it happened, you'll notice it's more like a hip toss than a
Yep.
body slam. And when I did it, I picked him up and turned him all the way over. Gave him the slam. Not taking him from Luger. I mean, Luger's a great wrestler.
You're pretty impressive. I mean, just to be able to do that. I mean, obviously, Yoko is legit. What, 550, 600 pounds? I mean, it's a
Oh,
huge guy.
he was over 600 then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of squash the beef with him?
Just as time went on, we started talking and just became friends, man.
Did you think there was too many like clicks back then? I mean, obviously the click, the
Way too many.
BSK.
Way too many. I mean, that got out of hand. Way out of hand.
What was it like though? I mean, was it like dividing the locker room? Was it just too much guys going this way, guys going that way together and not creating a nice locker room environment?
Yeah, it was too much heat in the locker room. I mean, everybody hated them. Everybody. And it was just too much heat in the locker room. And the boys start, separating those who want to be part of the clique or those who don't want to be part of the clique. And it was a mess, man.
Did you get along with BSK at all, like the Undertaker group?
Yeah, I got along good with the Undertaker.
And hit that whole group with him and I guess Godfather, Yoko, Savio, the Godwins. You got along with all those guys?
Oh yeah, I got along with Savio especially great, and I got along with like me and Godfather just did a signing the other day, and we got along pretty good, man.
What about Undertaker? Like, what did you think of him? And you said you got along with him, but what did you kind of think of him and his personality? And he's supposedly the locker room leader. Was he the locker room leader?
Yeah, he was one of them. There was many locker room leaders, but he was one of them. And as far as me go, we never had a bad word to say to each other.
When you look at the WWF at that point and you kind of look back, how'd you actually get in? Like you mentioned a tryout match, but how did you actually get in?
Well, I started in Global, and I was working Michael P.S. Hayes in Global. And when we got done with the match, Michael told me, said, "Man, I'm getting you in the WWF, man. I'm gonna bring you up there." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I hear that from everybody, They're gonna do something another." But Michael Hayes delivered on it, man. He gave Vince the tape. Vince saw the tape and liked it and called me up.
And when you debuted in the dark match, do you remember who you wrestled or who it was against?
Yeah, name is Rico Suave was his ring name. Rico Suave, and he was an excellent worker, man. I don't know why they didn't keep him too, because he was an excellent worker.
How did it go, like, as far as, like, backstage? Because you mentioned some people kinda didn't know how to make you, and some people, like Michael P.S. Hayes, loved you. It's like, how did it go as far as the tryout? Like, did you meet Vince? Did everyone say that you're hired immediately? This is great. Like, how smooth did it go?
Oh, went very smooth. Like I said, during my tryouts, I don't know any of these guys. I don't follow wrestling like that, and I don't know any of these guys basically. And all of them was at the curtain, gathered along to see what I was going to do at the hard point, we call it. And they all got the hard point to see what I was going to do. And when we got out there, man, we turned the crowd out, and we got standing ovation when we got done.
Pretty good for a dark match.
Oh
Usually that
yeah,
doesn't happen.
they made the next few matches harder to do because they had to match what we did.
For sure. Does that mean, like, they're watching you, they're not liking it, that they're maybe saying, "Uh-oh, this guy might take our spot"? Like, is that kind of the thought process?
Exactly, exactly. They said, "Uh oh, this guy might take a spot." That was the big fear. I mean, nobody ever offered to help me and knew I was green, and they never offered to help me except for Razor Ramon. Razor Ramon was the only one that used to stand behind the curtain. And when I get done, he would pull me to the side and say, "Hey, do more of this, do less of this. This looked good, that didn't look good." I mean, Razor was the only one, man, with Razor Ramon.
How come he was the only one though? Like, how come nobody else kind of stepped up?
Because they don't want you taking their spots. It was a bunch of jealousy, man, and backstage stabbing. They didn't want some new kid, coming in and take their spot.
And you think he was secure in his spot? He wasn't worried. He knew that you had something that he was going to help you.
What, Lex? I mean,
No,
Razor?
Hall. Razor, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Razor figured, the kids got something. Let me help him out with it. He wasn't worried about me taking a spot, man. It was genuine. When it was criticism, it was criticism. When it was praise, it was praise. But it was genuine coming from him, man.
Did it help you a lot?
Oh yeah, helped me a whole lot. Cause he didn't have to do that, man. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to help me, but he chose to help me, man, and he did.
What did he say to you at first? Like, hey, I'm watching your match. Do this, do that, or don't do this, don't do that, basically?
No, I was behind the coming after the match. I was walking backstage, going behind the curtain. Razor said, "Hey, Ahmed, let me talk to you for a minute." And that's when he started. That hey, this looked good. That you might want to cut back on some. This looked good. Blase, blase.
Did he ever say to you, like, hey, I see something in you. You have a ton of potential, like something like that?
Well, no, he knew I had a ton of potential. That's why he decided to help me because he knew I had a ton of potential. But I was like I said, a little raw with it. You know what I'm saying? I might
Yep.
hit somebody too hard or something, not enough to hurt you, but enough for you to go cry in events. And
Oh, that would happen?
huh?
That would happen? They'd go crying to Vince
Oh
about it?
my God, like little newborn babies. He hit me too hard. He did this to me. Oh my God, man, it was crazy.
What was the relationship like with Vince McMahon?
Honestly, he ran up with Vince. Never had any trouble with him. Not saying something wasn't coming, but I never had any trouble with him right off the bat.
So you guys actually got along pretty well.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think about him? Like, is he a genius or is he a ruthless businessman? Like, what's your personal thoughts on Vince?
I think both. He's a genius and a ruthless businessman that you don't want to play with.
What about him, like, makes you think genius?
Because he's got this federation and he turned it into what it is now, $1 billion company, and he did it, his way. I mean, everything that's done in that ring is approved by Vince.
Right, basically, right? I mean, from start to finish, I mean, he
Yeah,
puts his fingertips on everything or fingerprints on everything.
yeah.
Do you pay attention to the allegations and all the stuff that was going on with him recently or not really?
No, I haven't really paid attention to it, man. And I
Do
know
you
about
believe
the
do you believe all
huh?
of it? You believe all of it or no?
I don't know, man. Vince is I don't know, man. He's so sneaky. I can't say I won't say no, it didn't happen.
Was he
But
a big ladies man or no? You didn't see any of that.
I mean, he got all the beautiful women working for him, so I don't know. I mean, he had his choice. Let's put it that way.
Would you ever go out or would he go out with the boys and stuff like that or not at that time period?
No, Vince was like after the match, he didn't want to see us. Basically, we were that step kid. He didn't want to see us around.
Did you ever have the opportunity to go to his house? I know some guys say like that they've been to his house and things like that. You ever
No, I
have that
never.
opportunity?
I've never been to his house. I've heard about it, but I've never been there.
Apparently, there's a big picture of him, but in his office. It's like this gigantic picture of himself. A bit of an
Oh,
egomaniac or no?
huh?
Was he a bit of an egomaniac or no?
I would say he was the biggest egomaniac I ever ran into in my life. I
Wow.
mean, like I said, it's about Vince, brother. Everything is about Vince, which is nothing wrong with that. You own the company. I mean, hey, you want to make an omelet, you might break a few eggs. But I got no problem with him.
So when you first get in there, who creates the gimmick, the look, and even gives you the name? Like, where does all that come from?
Mine came from Vince. I was his project. And so my name, my gimmick, and everything came from Vince. I mean, they got teams that get together, team promoter, like they sit me down in the promoter's room I think Cowboy Bill Watts came up with this dumb name Buck. I said, I'm not finna be called no Buck. So Vince was like, no, that's not gonna get it. Then Vince came up with Ahmed. And it's cool because Ahmed means worthy of praise.
It's a different name too. It's pretty cool. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. And nobody else really has the name.
exactly.
Who comes up with the look like your actual like the red and all that stuff? That's Vince too.
I think it was Vince, but I mean they do it at the studio. But I think it's Vince's input that they look at. You know what I'm saying? They had a bunch of
I,
drawings up. All the drawings were great, man. And but I wanted that look because it was more that Mike Tyson look, you know. And you ain't got a bunch of shiny robes and all that. No valets, nothing like that. It's just me. Like when I first got there, they never told me if I was a baby face or a heel. He said, just go out there and see how the crowd reacts to you. And I was like, okay, but how am I going to beat the guy up in the ring? Should I beat him up heel wise or babyface wise? He said, just do what you do. I went out there, man, and had a match, and crowd went crazy again. I think I've never really seen a big man that agile, that can move like that, and had that much intensity.
and that ripped like that like Jack. They're like, oh my god, this guy shouldn't be
Yeah,
able to move like that. You know what I mean?
right.
Did you work out a ton? How did you get so big but still maintain the agility? Because I've seen the big guys in the wrestling business like exactly right before the time period you came in, and none of them could move like that.
Yeah, I just, when I was in high school, man, I played football, wrestling team, track team. And those sports kept me limber and good. And then I went to the military. I went to the Army where I graduated most distinguished undergraduate. Out of 2,000 soldiers, I graduated number one. And the Army keeps you in shape, brother. You ain't got no choice in the Army. If you going to work out or not, they make sure you work out.
What was your workout regimen like when you were in WWF? I mean, because you were huge.
Just wherever we can find a gym, I try to get there about noon, hit it real quick. That way it gives you enough time to get your pump in, and your pump will last for a while till you get to the ring. Just go to the gym about noon, and that was it.
7 days a week?
No, I used to try to do it every other day.
Pretty impressive. Did you eat a lot? Like what was it like as far as just maintaining that mass?
Yeah, I was a hog, man. I was eating it all. I was a hog for sure.
Now, the agility part, that's just literally from playing football and being athletic and kind of like just God given ability. It's just as far as being able to fly around like that.
Yeah, I think that's just a God given ability. I think I got learned more about my physicality in the Army. I learned more about what I could do physically, and they helped me break through some bonds that I thought I couldn't do, but I did them. But I credited most of it to the Army.
As far as like doing some of those moves, did they want you to kind of cut back and doing the high flying because you're a big guy? Did they kind of want to like reel you in or no?
The only person that wanted me to reel it in was Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels called me to the office one day. He was like rock status back then. So he called me to the office one day and he said, Ahmed, he said, I'm gonna have to ask you to stop doing those high flying moves because when you do it at 360 pounds, then I do it at barely, 200 pounds. It doesn't look as good because you've already done it. So
So
Shawn Michaels tried to cut me back on it, but I didn't listen.
wow, so he did that on his own? He's doing that and telling you that? Not
Yeah,
like from Vince or not from Pat or
no,
anybody, actually him.
coming from Shawn. If I'd have
What do you
told Vince, Vince probably would have got pissed off about it, but I didn't. I didn't tell nobody.
So what did you think about that though? That's kind of underhanded on his
A
part.
hater. That's all it came up was a hater. Didn't want me doing high flying moves because it makes him look bad when he does it. Because here's a man 360 doing it, and here's a man barely 200 pounds doing it, and it made him not look as good because he saved the high flying moves for himself, and everybody else would listen to him and do it what he said, you know. But I didn't listen to him. I was like one ear and out the other.
Now I have one guy we mentioned before he passed away. He was telling me about it. Was Razor. This is a while back, but another buddy of mine who's kind of a fringe member of the clique mentioned that Michaels may have been a little jealous because you were starting to get over too much. Is that kind of
Yeah.
the feeling that you were getting though from that? Not even just doing the moves, just you were maybe going to threaten a spot of his.
Yes, it was seriously threatening spot of his, and he didn't like that. Like now, I'm supposed to win the world championship again. I'm supposed to take his belt, but he put in Vince's head that the audience wasn't ready for a black champion. I'm
Wow,
like,
really?
what? Yeah. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That audience was more in prime when I won that Intercontinental title. They were up in arms, man. I mean, the biggest applause I ever got. They were ready for a new champion.
Why did it not happen though? I mean, was it just him kind of cutting it short? Why you didn't win the world title?
Yeah, like I said, he had rock status back then. He could tell Vince who he wanted to wrestle, who he didn't want to wrestle, and he didn't want to wrestle me. He didn't mind tag teaming with me, but he didn't want to go up against me. I guess he thought I would hurt his pretty little hair.
So when were you supposed to win the world title? Do you remember? Like, was there an exact date or a big show that it was supposed to happen?
I don't remember exactly when. I take it that something that big would have been seen on WrestleMania or something.
Was there actual like not confirmation from Vince, but did Vince actually say, "Hey, I plan on giving you the belt"? Like, how did that conversation go?
Well, rumors start spreading around, in the back. And to be honest with you, Michael Hayes kind of told me about it. He's on big eating. He kind of told me about it. And he told me to get ready because I was like his project. He brought me up there and got me ready. And he told me, get ready for the belt. And then he came back with the other news. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
He told you no, not going to happen.
Yeah. Shawn Michael doesn't want to wrestle you.
So you were actually going to beat Michaels for the title, not Michaels losing it to a heel, but you were going to beat him face versus face, baby face, both of you?
Yeah. It was going to be a face-on-face match. Or else they would also talk about dropping his belt to the Undertaker and me and the Undertaker go at it. Which I think would have been a hell of a good show.
Not bad at all. Yeah, for sure. So when it doesn't happen, are you pissed?
Yeah, I'm a little livid behind it and a little, disappointed that somebody in these days and times can still have that mentality about black and whites and what the audience want, what they don't want. Man, get out of here.
I think he was also protecting his spot. Like he wanted to be champion. He wanted a long run with the belt.
Oh yeah, he was definitely protecting his spot because he didn't get rid of the belt until he did that. I lost my smile and dropped the belt. It was sickening.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Guy doesn't actually put over the title, but yet when he showed up to Mania that he was supposed to wrestle, he couldn't wrestle. He did a flip off the top rope and was doing that thing with his knee where he was, showing people it wasn't really hurt. What do you guys think about that? I mean, that's not kosher there.
No, that is a bunch of bull on Sean's part, man. That was a bunch of bull on Sean's part. And if I was being held back, mostly it was Sean.
When you look at Michaels in that title run, to be honest, and I know people will flip out, they're not going to be happy that I'm saying it, but he wasn't really that popular when he was the world champ. To be quite frank, I mean, business wasn't great. He wasn't getting like these big pops. I mean, I went to a show in New York Survivor Series. Sid was the babyface, even though he was the heel. He got
Mm-hmm.
cheered. Michaels got booed out of the building. Michaels was actually spitting on the crowd at one point. He got so furious
Oh
that he
yeah,
couldn't believe he was being booed. Yeah, so it's one of those things where I don't know. I know Vince loved him, but I don't know if that title run was great. WCW was killing you guys at that point.
yeah. He didn't want to get a title up, brother. He wanted that. That was his baby there. That kept him, with rings around the company.
And the
But he
funny
didn't.
thing is, you were getting over so much. I mean, you're going down. I mean, the crowd was going crazy
Oh
for you
yeah,
at that point.
oh yeah. The crowd's always been with me, man. I mean, even after the nation turned me back in to Ahmed after I joined the nation, the nation jumped me out of the nation. And I thought, man, it's gonna take months, if not years, to get the crowd back on my side. But it didn't. That one little incident, and they were back on my side as soon as I came out next time.
What is it like about you? I mean, is that just charisma? I mean, what is it? Because they really were. I mean, you're kind of almost like a rookie in essence. I mean, you're pretty
Yes,
new to WWF at that point, but I mean, you were super over with the crowd. They loved you.
yes. I think that they love my intensity, man. I think they haven't seen that before, haven't seen it since. With that intensity, I went to the ring. I think they knew it was real and not fake.
Yeah, there's something about you at that point, that charisma, and people think I'm crazy, but I always said, it was like Ahmed was more over than HBK, and HBK was like the big quote unquote like baby face, but he kind of
Yeah,
wasn't. He got booed a lot.
yeah. He didn't like that at all, brother. He did not like that at all. With all his little gimmicks, coming down off the rip line, flying into the ring, and all the little. He always had a little stunt to show.
Just
Brother,
felt
me,
like
I just walk out the locker room, walk right to the ring, and handle business.
I always felt like, okay, Ahmed, this guy's a legit ass kicker, and then Michael's like, yeah, he's a little too flamboyant. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a part of the crowd thinking, especially at that point in time too.
Yeah, he was really, really a big populist. He really was.
And it's interesting, like as you're starting to get the push, it was like I don't know. I guess Jeff Jarrett recently talked about it. He was saying that you were tough to work with. What was the issue with Jeff Jarrett? There was something where I guess you were no selling. I don't know. I don't know what his point was, but something that you guys were supposed to have a longer feud and it kind of got cut short.
Well, Jeff Jarrett was into that click stuff. He was into the click at first. I mean, I got nothing against Jeff. You know, I'm body more, I got nothing against him. But he was correct on some of the parts. I was still green, and I was still developing. I'll be the first to say that. But nobody had stepped in to even lend me a hand and show me the business. So I just went about the business the way I knew about going about the business.
Is it true, like the no selling and stuff, or was that just because you were like a bigger baby face? You just thought that should be what the character was, and nobody was explaining that to you.
Yeah, I thought, with my structure and my intensity, I just didn't sell certain things. And that's what, Vince liked. But, I can understand the boys wanting you to sell everything they do, but that's not what Vince had of me. I think I was this big, intense monster. And you have to do extra stuff to me to get me down.
To me, when like I guess I'm trying to remember what show it was, but I think he hit you with a chair or something. You kind of no sell. To me, I didn't see much of it, but I know he was saying he's like, oh, you got to sell for that. You got to do this. You got to get the angle over. Is that like the heat of it, or the crux of the heat with you guys was just that maybe that one or two incidents where you were no selling?
Um, I don't remember, he never commentated with me about anything. And if you hit me in the chair once, no, I didn't sell it. You hit me in my back. I mean, I was that big and had a broad back and everything else. I mean, you're going to hit me in the head. But I think he smashed me in the back. So I didn't sell that.
Is it like enough heat where he says I'm not going to work with him anymore? Like what was the issue with you guys, or
No,
was it
he didn't have
okay?
that kind of pull. So I don't know what he must have went to Sean, and Sean, fixed it up for him. But no, he didn't have that kind of pull.
Then, of course, you win the Kuwaiti Cup. You beat Owen Hart. You beat Triple H. What do you think of Owen Hart, or what did you think about Owen?
Owen was the greatest wrestler there was. I'm not saying because he's passed away, but Owen was funny, man. He was fun to be in the ring with. He played so many ha-has on me, man. It's ridiculous. but he was really, really a cool guy, man.
What did he do? What kind of pranks did he play on you?
Man, I can name a list. I'll tell you one. One of them was when I first got there, when I was green and first getting into business on my dark match. All of a sudden, my music come on halfway during the match. My entrance music. I'm saying, why are they playing my entrance music? In my head, I'm saying, we're not even nowhere near finished. And then come to find out, Owen and Davey was up in the music room. So they came out of the music room, and Mike Ratonda is pissed. He's an agent that watches over us. And he is fire red, man. And he's like, who the hell did that? Who the hell cut that damn music on? Who? Owen to Davey and say, I didn't. Davey did it. And Davey looked at Owen and said, I didn't do it. Owen did it. So
That's
they
great.
were, I heard they got fined for it, but yeah, that was just one of their ribs.
Did you end the match or did you just keep going? Like it's not
No, we
over.
kept going.
Oh, okay. That's great. I mean, to get away with that. I mean, you said like I fine, but like kind of get away with it during the show. It's pretty funny. Like you can, that if they
Yeah,
actually pull that off.
yeah. Owen and Davey, only two could pull that off, man. They were the king of ribs, man.
That's awesome. What about Triple H? Did you like Triple H? What were your thoughts on H? Obviously, you remember the Click.
And at first, when I met Triple H, he wasn't a member of the clique. When he was Hunter Hearst Assembly, I mean, he was great, man. He guided me through a couple of matches. You know, like we're in the ring, he tell me what we should do and this that and another, and I listened to him and did it, and it helped get me over. But then after he got with the clique, oh Jesus, you talking about a monster being born?
What was the change? What happened?
He just wasn't himself anymore. You know, he wasn't himself that talked to the boys or hang out with the boys. He just wasn't himself anymore. He became Shawn Michaels' little clique, and that was it.
Was he like super politician, political stuff like that?
Triple H?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Oh, he wasn't political really with the like polling stuff and wanted to be higher on the card, things like that.
Oh, no, he let Shawn do all the dirty work for him.
Ah, okay.
Look who's
So
on top now.
so you didn't like those guys together, obviously.
No, that whole clique thing, man, was rotten.
How do you like deal with that? How do you deal with them backstage? Do you just not deal with them at all? Do you kind of do your own thing? Like, how do you deal with guys like that?
Me, man, like I said, I was, they can call me an individual, whatever you want to call me, but I kind of stayed to myself. So I didn't have to deal with any of them. Any of them. The only person I really did deal with in the locker room was Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, were you guys your friends?
Yeah, we became good friends, man.
What was he like, Warrior?
With me, he was cool. I can't say that he's like that for everybody, but he was a lot like me. He didn't go hang out with the boys. You never hear anything about him doing anything, out with the boys, getting drunk or high or nothing like that. Because what he did, he wouldn't stay in the same hotel the boys stayed in. He would get a different hotel. And he was explaining all that to me and telling me, I remind him a lot of him and I need to watch myself, watch my back and this, that, and other. He was a good dude, man.
Why
Now,
not
notice,
stay in the same hotel?
huh?
How come not stay in the same hotel?
Because he didn't want to be around the boys. When he got done wrestling with his match, he wanted to go with his wife. He brought his wife everywhere. He wanted to just go hang out with him and his wife. And he didn't want the boys playing ha-ha ribs on him and stuff like that.
Like you said, you kind of did the same thing, right? I mean, you kind of stayed to yourself. Is that why you guys kind of gravitated towards each other?
I think so. Because, what happened was I was going to the locker room with all the boys, and he had his own locker room. The Warrior did. And I was walking down the hall, and he just said, Ahmed, you come here and get dressed in here with me, man. So that was very unusual for the Warrior to ask you to get dressed with him or even talk to you. So I got dressed with him, man, and we had a conversation, and he kind of hit me to the game a little bit.
That's pretty cool. Like that, he's kind of inviting you into his world. Like you said, he kind of kept to himself. I mean, he must have liked you or saw something in you where he's like, "Why don't you come with me?" You know, common
Right,
ground.
right.
How come he got such a bad rep from the boys?
Who?
Warrior seemed like he got a bad rep from a lot of the boys.
Yeah. Once again, brother, all you got to go back, look back to is jealousy, 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 and they were all jealous of the Warrior because I'm like, he doesn't wrestle, he doesn't go to the ring and shake the ropes and do one move, and regardless, it's over. He's over. I don't care what he's doing there. He's over with the crowd. That makes us money. Just be glad of that.
Do you remember the infamous curtain call where the clique all came together in the ring afterwards at MSG? Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, basically, Hall and Nash were leaving, and Michaels and Triple H were in the ring, and they all hugged each other, even though they just wrestled each other. It was, like
Oh yeah,
basically
when
kind
they
of,
was separating.
yeah, yep, and they kind of breaking kayfabe. I don't know if you remember that. And I was
Yeah,
just thinking
I
that
remember
because
now what you said. I do.
any sort of thought of like these guys, like you know what I mean, like they kind of do their own thing, and then you and Warrior almost kind of get bashed for just trying to kind of keep away from that stuff.
Right, just trying to live our lives.
See, I'm from the area, I'm from New Jersey, but I used to always pay attention to MSG and what was going on. That was Warriors' return to MSG that night, and that night sold out. And I remember the newspaper clipping; it was only Warrior on the newspaper clipping. So after the curtain call, I remember Michaels and those guys kind of took credit. I was, wait a second, nobody even knew those guys were on the card. It was Warrior was the only one that advertised for the show.
Right,
So obviously he was the big name and the big draw. So that probably stuck with them too. Like, oh, we don't like this guy. He's outdrawing us at MSG for his return after 4 years
big
gone.
time. If he took a layoff, he came back and he was still over, so big with the crowd.
What happened with his exit? Was that something to do with him and Vince having a falling out?
Yeah, yeah, that was two Buffaloes not willing to give.
Because it was supposed to be Michaels, you, and him against Camp Cornette, and it ended up being Sid replacing
Yeah,
him.
yeah, they had a falling out.
Man, Warrior at 96. I mean, that's it could have been something, or it could have been something more for sure,
Oh
had
yeah,
he stuck around. What about your feud with Goldust and the doing the gay angle and the kiss and the him being androgynous? What'd you think about working with Goldust, aka Dustin Rhodes?
brother, I enjoyed working with Goldust. I really did. But that kiss, he got me on that one because we had rehearsed it because we were doing live TV. So we rehearsed it several times. He puts his hand over my mouth and he kisses his hand, or act like he's blowing breath into his hand. But he knew it was live TV and I couldn't do nothing. So he decided to go ahead and kiss me while I was laying down there. And I got up, man, I was like, you dirty son of a gun. And then I went hunting for him.
Were you legitimately mad?
No, no, not
Oh
at
no.
all.
It seemed like it's like, oh shit, like he's
Oh yeah,
dead.
that's the reaction I was going for. Oh shit, I messed up now.
Did he laugh like as he? Because obviously he kind of got you, but I mean, what did he laugh and be like, ah, like I tricked you, kind of thing?
A little bit. He
What did he
laughed a
say
little bit.
after?
Well, after we got done, it was fun. He thought I was really mad, so he left the arena. Yeah, he got in the car and left without even taking his makeup or nothing off. And I seen him, and he was like, "Man, hold on, you aren't pissed, are you?" I'm like, "No, man. I mean, it's part of part of the gimmick. I understand." And then we were like cool with it, but I didn't expect him to do it again when I won the belt from him. I didn't expect him to do it again, but he did it again. Like, okay, I thought I was cool with the first one. Now that don't mean you get a second one.
Were you pissed that time?
No, I wasn't really pissed, man. It's gold dust, man. I mean, it's hard to get pissed at gold dust.
Did you have a good relationship with him?
Yeah, we were pretty cordial.
I feel like it's amazing that he's still wrestling today. You know what I mean? He's 50, whatever he is, and he's
Yeah,
just killing it.
and looking good too.
Yep.
Doing
It
looking
looks better than
good.
ever.
Yeah, he still got it.
And of course, like you mentioned before, King of the Ring, 1996, you win the Intercontinental title, first black Intercontinental champion, really the first black singles champion in
Right.
WWF history. I mean, what does that mean to you? Like, if you look at it, I mean, that's a record you will, you can't take away from you. It's a huge accomplishment.
It means a lot to me, man, and it really touched me when Vince decided to make me his champion. You know, that really touched me and changed my mind on a bunch of things, man. I got to see life through clear eyeglasses
Why is that?
because I was kind of believing the Sean hype that white people didn't want to see me as champion and this, that, and other, and I was scared that when I won the belt that they were going to boo. Just to listen to Sean's bullshit crap, and then come to find out it was the total opposite. I mean, they got on their feet and exploded that place.
Historical moment, great moment. Obviously, got a huge pop. So you felt good. Like, what did Vince feel? Was he super happy and with the reaction as well?
Yes, he was. He was very happy.
When you look at that moment in time, I mean, is that like the high point for you in wrestling? I mean, is that the biggest you can get as far as highlights in the business?
Well, yeah, but in my life, my highlight moment was winning the most distinguished honor graduate in the military. That's my high point. But the belt comes in, a close first or a close second.
So definitely the high point of wrestling, though, as far as
Yes,
wrestling career.
yes, high point wrestling definitely was it.
When you look at that and like, hey, first black Intercontinental champion, technically the first black singles champion in WWF, is it said like behind the scenes, like by the boys, or is that just like a something that they're putting out there to the fans? I mean, does everybody know about it as far as what you're accomplishing in the back?
Say it again. I didn't quite get you.
Like the guys in the back, is that something that they're saying, "Oh, congratulations, you're the first," or is that just something like for the cameras kind of thing?
That was just something for the cameras. That was
So
something for the cameras.
so it doesn't mean as much to the boys as it means to the fans,
Right.
basically.
Exactly.
So as you move on, you technically don't lose the title. Technically, you got injured by a quote unquote injured by Farouk, and so how come they don't want you losing the title? Is that to keep you strong to eventually get you to the world title, or what was the issue with vacating the title?
It was just taking too long for the injury to heal, and Vince needed the belt, to be there circulating, and I just couldn't do it when I had my kidney injury. I couldn't do it.
Oh, so it was legit injury.
Yes.
What did you think about vacating the title? Were you pissed?
I was a little hurt by it.
Did you want him to kind of wait until the injury healed and then you lose the title, or keep defending the title?
Yeah, I'd rather keep defending it until the big show came up where it was, Ahmed versus Shawn Michaels for the belt, and that would make me a two belt champion. That really would, blew the place off the house.
Did injuries become like a big factor? Because, like you said, you're getting a big push. You're going to be like a top babyface. Your pops are through the roof. Did injuries start to become like a plague for you to become a big factor?
They did play a big part in my decision, to walk out like I did. Injuries were, man, they just like they kept coming. I mean, I was in the ring with DOA, and a simple step, my knee popped out of socket. And I'm like, what is going on?
Wow, not good.
No,
What's the worst injury you had?
the kidney.
How did that happen?
Fruit kicked me in it when he ran downstairs. It's his very first introduction to Farouk. Him and Sonny, he came rushing down. I fell out the ring and he came rushing down, and here I am trusting this dude. So I opened my body up to him. You got to hit the old veteran. I opened my body up to him, And brother, he laid a kick there that you wouldn't soon forget.
Damn. That lead to big heat between you guys? I mean, was that legit heat with you guys as far as you and Ron?
Yeah, in the beginning it was. That's why during that what was it? The one with me and the Road Warriors.
Oh, WrestleMania 13.
Yeah, what was that called? The
The
damn, I
street
can't
fight,
remember.
Chicago street fight.
Chicago Street Fight. That's why I took him through that table the way I did, and it broke his ribs, and one of his ribs punctured his lung.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that was like, that was you almost getting a little bit of revenge, a little bit of payback.
yeah, yeah. So we kind of, settled down from there. Once I got my payback, we kind of settled down.
Was that okay with him? Like tit for tat? Okay, I hurt you, you hurt me, we're even?
Um, no, I haven't talked to him about it yet, so I don't know. I
But
don't
how was
know.
it working together? Because you guys had a long feud, and obviously you feuded with the Nation Domination for a while.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I mean, it wasn't, me and Farouk just going me and Farouk. Me and Farouk are both heavy-handed people, so when we hit you, you're gonna feel it a little bit. But it's cool if you're going against somebody that don't mind being hit, like Vader. Before me and Vader's match, I can remember Vader coming backstage to the locker room and sitting down with me, and I'm like, "What's up, big man?" He said, "Hey, I just want to tell you." He said, "I'm gonna lay him in there, so I don't mind if you lay him in there." And I'm like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna hit you, so man, I don't mind you hitting me back." And I'm like, "Is he serious?" So I go to the ring. I'm thinking he was just joking. I get to the ring. The first punch he gives me, man, I feel it. He rung my bell, man. But the rest of the match, it was one hell of a good match. But if you ever watch that match, it was a shooter's match.
Vader doesn't mess around, or didn't mess around, I guess.
No.
You got to, right? If a guy hits you like that, you got to hit him back, right? I mean,
Oh
tit for
yeah.
tat, right? I mean, you got to lay it in.
If somebody potato you, don't potato them back, it gets around the locker room that you're weak, that you can't, you don't fight back, and then everybody will start picking on you. So no, you don't ever want that reputation that, hey, I didn't get it. I gave you a receipt. I'm getting my receipt paid back. Always get your receipts paid.
Good point. Yes, for sure. So no issues with Ron though. Like as far as working with him, there was really no issues other than WrestleMania 13 and his debut.
Um, Outside that, no, it's like I said, we were awfully tight on each other as far as punches and kicks and stuff go. But we got to the point where we weren't trying to kill each other anymore.
I just remember "You're going down." I mean, the crowd used to chant that like crazy. Did you make that up, or was that a catchphrase they gave to you to say to the Nation of Domination?
I just made it up. Just made it up.
Were you surprised it got over the way it did? Because the crowd would go nuts for it.
Yeah, I did. I was very surprised. Even now, when I go do signings, you're going down.
I think it's your intensity or like the way you're saying it. People just like, I have to get behind this because he's so intense. I got to be intense with it.
Yeah, they drove some. I get people, man, that send me, messages every day about, how my intensity saved, their life and how they were going through bullying as a child and they see me and decide to fight back. I mean, all kind of great stories, man.
Do you think you should have turned heel as far as that? Like, it almost felt like that didn't really quite fit. I mean, you were still over it. It was weird.
Some people say that I would have made a better heel than babyface because I had that heel like attitude, that heel like performance. And some people said I should have been the heel, man, one of the top heels. But I'm just pleased what I did do there, man. I mean, I'm pleased that I got to be the Continental Champion and that I even got a chance.
Do you think the heel turn was okay though? Like, would you have liked to kind of go further with the heel turn?
I think I would have, but then again, I what they were planning on doing later on was they were planning on teaming me and Ron Simmons up. We were going to team up as a tag team, but that would have been devastating. Like I wouldn't want to wrestle against us. But it was me and Ron going to be a tag team, and that never happened because I had to get out.
Were you supposed to have a match with Stone Cold Steve Austin? Was that ever in the cards?
Yeah, remember that time when he gave me the stunner?
Yep.
And I thought from there we were supposed to fight from there, but some reason that got put on the back burner.
Why?
I have no idea. I fought him in Kuwait, so he knows I'm not, I'm not as hard as people say I was. Because like when it gets him in Kuwait, and I don't know what happened to the match that we were supposed to do.
There was also in '98, in the peak Steve Austin, at the height of his career, you and him were in the ring together. You're having the promo war. Obviously, Vince is in the middle of you guys, but it's so funny. He starts cutting a promo, and then you start cutting a promo. And you said, since I'm 13 years old, my whole life I've been on my own. And like you start to get really passionate, really intense, and all of a sudden Vince pulls the mic. He's like, get him back, get him back. Everybody calm down. Like, were you going off script or something? Like, why did he kind of think that everybody needs to be calmed down?
Well, you know what, brother? They never gave me a script. They never told me what to say. Vince was like, hey, you to say what you want to say. I like your intensity. They never once gave me a script. They tell me what we're trying to get to. Now, this is the point we're trying to get to, but they never gave me anything to say. It was kind of like, you're on your own.
So it wasn't you going off script. You just didn't have a script. You were just saying what you felt should be said at that time.
Right.
Were you like it's super impassioned because you started talking like you're like I've been on my own my whole life, and like Austin is kind of going back and forth with you, and for some reason Vince cuts it short. Was it getting too intense between you guys?
I don't know. I was cool, man. But you couldn't look at me and tell whether I was intense or cool,
Right. So there wasn't a problem with Steve Austin at all, as far as you're concerned.
Not that I know of, no.
So you had no problem with him. There was no heat. Like you just thought you guys should have had a match, basically.
I thought we should have had a match.
I totally agree. It was weird too because after that promo, I was like, "Oh, I guess they're not having the match." But you were supposed to have the match. I literally to this day have no idea why it didn't happen.
And like I said, I don't understand because we wrestled in Kuwait before, and he
Yep.
knows that that I didn't hurt him or anything. So why he wouldn't have a match here, I don't understand.
Damn it, that should have happened, especially after that awesome promo where you get so passionate. Like I remember me and my buddies were like, "Damn, this has got to happen." It didn't happen. We were so we were so pissed.
Yeah, I was too, man. I thought all that was for a match. Him coming out giving me a stunner. I thought that was because we were going to go into a match together.
Now, as far as you leave, how come you leave WWF? Was the contract up, or did you ask to be released?
No, I asked to be released. I
Why?
asked
Why?
because I was going through something with my sisters. My play sister was still my sister. She was in the hospital and she was, on her last leg. That and just a bunch of other things came into play, man. And then he wanted to do an angle where the Truth Commission hung me by a rope, like lynching. And I definitely wasn't down with that.
Is this Vince McMahon or Vince Russo?
This is Vince McMahon.
Wow, a lynching angle. Do you think that's a bit much? I mean, that's
That
kind
is
of super
way,
controversial. Super controversial.
yeah, that's way too much, man. And I couldn't see myself being lynched as a joke when, so many black men have been lynched in the past. And that's just not a joke to me.
No,
That's not something
definitely
I want
not.
little kids looking at and seeing.
Yep. Did you tell him like Vince? I mean, come on. I mean, that's pushing it a bit too far.
Yeah, I talked to him about it, but when Vince mind is set, it's set, brother.
Damn. So eventually you head to WCW. Did you like it there at all? I mean, you're with Booker T and Stevie Ray. I mean, really feuding with Booker, but you're with your old buddy Stevie Ray. Did you like WCW at all or no?
Man, I love WCW, but the only thing I didn't like about it was I was so out of shape during that era, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I was terrible. And I wasn't going to do it. Stevie asked me to do it a few times. I told him, no, man, I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for it. Then Vince Russo called me And I was like, damn, Vince did so much for me in the WWE. So like, I gotta do it now because my two boys are asking me. So I said, yeah, I'll do it. So I got into the Big T thing.
Did you think, okay, I got to get in shape, or you just weren't, you weren't, your head wasn't in the game at that point?
No, my head wasn't nowhere in the game, brother. And I just didn't have. I asked them to give me some time to let me get, shape and everything. And they said they needed me right then. I was like, oh Lord.
And those are your boys, right? Booker and Stevie? I mean, you guys probably trained together, buddies for a long time, right?
Not Booker. Me and Booker never got along.
Oh, no. Okay. So you and Stevie were buddies.
Yeah, we were like, when Booker was in prison, me and Stevie was like brothers, man. We fight together. We had so many fights together, man. We were
Street fights?
run people left and right. But no, Booker never took a liking to me. I guess it's because I was there for Stevie when he wasn't.
And even still to this day, you guys don't get along?
No.
And what's the relationship like with Stevie nowadays?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while. Need to call him.
Yeah, you guys got to reconnect for sure.
Yeah, I need to call him and see what he's doing.
As we hit the wind down here, we'll head towards the finish. Any regrets in the wrestling business? Anything you look back on and wish you did differently?
I wish there was a different way that I exited, that I could have exited a different way. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could have left on better terms, but hey, it is what it is. I mean, I had all these problems stacking up on me, and I didn't know how to handle it, and Vince definitely didn't know how to handle it. So I just thought it was time to walk, man.
And just favorite moment in the business was probably winning the IC title. You would think
Yeah,
that's the top, if you will.
the IC title and my match with Vader was somebody who didn't cry and didn't mind taking a hit.
Yeah, true. My God, yeah. He would dish it out, but he could take it too, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Was Vader like your favorite opponent, or do you have some other guys that were some of your favorites?
I got another guy that my favorite. Vader is the one that I enjoyed the most because he's the only one that ever came to me and said, "Lay him in there, bro." So I'm gonna lay him in there.
Love that.
And I respect that. I respect the fact that he told me ahead of time that he was going to do it and didn't just pull some bullshit in the ring. But yeah, I would say Vader was one of the matches I enjoyed.
As far as what's next for you in the business, what's coming up? What do you got coming up?
This weekend I'll be in Ohio signing my new toy, my action figure. I hate to call them dolls or anything else. Sign my new action figure, and I will be in Cleveland, Ohio.
Nice. That's awesome. Do you have a new toy? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's all over Facebook. So
nice. I love that. It's 2023, but they're making all the guys that everybody likes from the 90s. You know what I mean? Like
right.
the hot periods, if you will.
Exactly.
Now, where can everybody find your social media and otherwise? Do you do a lot of social media?
They can hit me up on my Instagram or just hit me on regular Facebook.
All right. Ahmed, thank you so much for all the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos,